Welcome and thank you for joining us to celebrate this momentous occasion. It certainly was not an easy road to get here, but nonetheless, there is no one more excited to be in this building than I am. And it is because of the support and help from so many people that we're able to stand here today and officially open the Sam Houston State University College of Osteopathic Medicine. We'll introduce them in a moment, but first allow me to recognize our elected officials and special guests who continue to provide Sam Houston State with unprecedented support. As I introduce the different individuals here, if you would either stand or raise your hand since we are on virtual, they'll know who this person is. The Honorable Kevin Brady, U.S. Congressman. The Honorable Brandon Creighton, State Senate, District 4. The Honorable Will Metcalf, State Representative, District 16. Duke Kuhn, Conroe Mayor Pro Tem. And then I'm going to introduce our Texas State University System Board of Regents. Bill Scott, Chairman. David Montaigne, Vice Chair. Charlie Amato, Regent, an alumnus. Gary Crane, Regent. Veronica Edwards, Regent. Don Flores, Regent. Alan Tinsley, Regent and alumnus. And then our Chancellor, Dr. Brian McCall. Then the Texas State University System Presidents. Ken Evans, President Lamar University. Lonnie Howard, President Lamar Institute of Technology. Tom Johnson, President Lamar State College, Orange. I think he might be. And I don't see. Okay, and last but not least, Elisa White, Sam Houston State University President and my successor. A few other individuals, Aaron Jones from Page Architects. Brian Bondi, Conroe Chamber of Commerce. J.J. Hawley, the Woodlands Chamber of Commerce. Danielle Shiner, Conroe EDP. Gil Staley, the Woodlands EDP. And I tell you, we also have many of the Vice Chancellors and Texas State University System staff here, as well as the University Vice Presidents and the entire leadership team of the College of Osteopathic Medicine. And there's lots of others that I'd like to introduce, but many of them are on virtual as well. There's one person that is in attendance today that I'm going to take a moment to introduce. And that is because Mr. James Searles, who's also the sculpture that is in the front of the medical school, is in attendance as well. So would you stand, please, Mr. Searles? So this is kind of for me, a very special time and place. So we've often heard the word or the term that many of us have heard, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it did take us a village to get here to this occasion we celebrate today. And so I'm going to provide some thoughts of appreciation to those villagers. To Chancellor McCall and the Texas State University System Board of Regents. You believed in the COM from the beginning and allowed the idea to launch. To the Texas State University staff, you're the best people in the world to fight with in the trenches. To the Sam Houston State University leadership team, you were amazing, handled so much, so I could focus energy on the task of the College of Osteopathic Medicine. To the 20-plus legislators who campaigned for us, including the two here today, Senator Creighton and Representative Metcalf. We would not have that state approval without all of you. To Congressman Brady, hats off. You called anyone I needed you to call, so thank you. To Virgil Yoakum, and I didn't introduce him earlier, but he is here. Please raise your hand, stand. Of Johnson Development. You are why we sit in this spot, because you saw the long-term value of a medical school here in Conroe. To Russell and Glenda Gordy, who are on with us virtually, thanks for believing and committing resources and time to this effort. To two special women, one in attendance today, Donna Williams is here. I call them my grit women friends. That's girls raised in Texas tough. Arcelia Costa and Donna Williams, your support and tenacity was inspiring, who along with Michael Plank, John Steen, Welcome Wilson, got us through the coordinating board. Thank you. Last to John, who's going to get very mad because I'm mentioning him, but at the end. So, who drove, flew, supported my angst on so many times I can't even tell you. You got me through the tough parts. So all of my appreciation to so many people in this village that got us here. In November 2018, we celebrated the groundbreaking for this college. And during that ceremony, I shared that by building this medical school, we are responding to a critical demand, where education is key to elevating the quality of life for millions of our citizens. Continuing our legacy of meeting the state's workforce needs, the new College of Osteopathic Medicine will train doctors who will predominantly be primary care physicians with a focus toward rural and underserved areas. In our East Texas service region, there is one primary care physician for every 4,510 people. Residents of this region, which includes 60,000 alumni, understand the impact of this critical shortage all too well. Unlike other medical schools in the state, Sam Houston required no new state funding and will bring approximately $68 to $93 million annually in new federal funds to Texas. The College of Osteopathic Medicine, a community-based, clinically focused model, will collaborate with hospitals in rural East Texas counties to establish residency training programs that will benefit the people living in those areas. Before the dean was even hired, the university has been blessed by the support of a donor for startup costs, and with the support from those who were introduced moments ago, from the Texas State University system, state legislators, local officials, and the board of the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. For the Sam Houston State University College of Osteopathic Medicine is now open and implementing an innovative healthcare solution that can be life-changing for over 1.9 million Texans in this area. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Chancellor Brian McCall to offer us a few of his remarks from the Texas State University system.
Thank you, President Hoyt. How are you going to have a dream come true if you don't dream dreams? And if you're going to dream, why not dream big? And just because everyone in a position of power over your decision making says no, why not question if they really mean it? And if you start to think that they really mean it, as you talk to them, why not just end every sentence with the word damn it and see how it goes from there? Everyone was against us, and it worked. To Donna and Arcelia, who were just fantastic, in a body that was tying our shoelaces together every time we stood up. Thank you. We knew that this was important, needed doing, must be done, and wouldn't happen if we didn't do it. So the grit of the president and my interest in helping that president and the entire system office, and Dean Henley, who was fantastic through the process, and others made the impossible possible. And because of that, when you sit here 10 years from now, you will not be able to judge the impact of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of physicians practicing in rural areas healing and helping and smoothing a rough life for thousands and thousands and thousands of Texans. Good work happened here. And when something like this passes by one vote, you have to know that every conversation was important. And so the people that Dr. Hoyt thanked, I redouble and thank, and good work was done here. Thanks to the support of the Board of Regents, this is a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McCall. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Charles Henley, Dean of the College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Better take this off. My epidemiology training is showing here. Anyway, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to have all of you here with me in this beautiful new building. I don't have a chance very often to thank the right people for our success, but I'd like to take this opportunity now. Listening to the two previous speakers brings back an awful lot of memories about how we started and how we progressed, some of the concerns we had and how we worked through it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the work of Dr. Hoyt and also the work of the regents. I'm not saying that just because the Chancellor is sitting here in front of me looking at me, but I would say that anyway. But they have done a remarkable job in supporting us. I'd also like to thank our architects, Page and Slam, Vaughn Construction. They brought this building in ahead of time, and we met with them every week, and we saw what they did. I know what a Gantt chart is now, and they are remarkable people to work with. They're genuine professionals, and we appreciate what they've done. As you can see from the tour, we literally have everything that we need in this building to teach and train our students for the first 2 years. We've also made some progress with accreditation, and we've selected our first class of 75 students. And they had their official white coat ceremony on the 8th. We were privileged at that time to have the president of the American Osteopathic Association, Dr. Tom Ely, be our main speaker for that ceremony. He did a great job. And Tom is also an alumni of SAM, which I think is a very nice coincidence, although my wife doesn't believe in that. She's Presbyterian. I'd also like to thank our clinical partners who have stood with us as we prepare our students for their clinical training that'll start in 2022. And I want to thank our provost, Dr. Richard Egglesauer. He's shared this experience with me from the very beginning and has been a very steady and reliable partner. And I have already mentioned the regents, but you know, when you think about the different things that have happened, the incidences that could have gone one way or the other, and what that meant in terms of our outcome, our early interaction with the regents was extremely important. And without their approval and without their support, we would have a very different outcome today. But we also work with some very creative people here, from admissions and human resources, our legal team, our registrars, MARCOM, our student affairs people, financial aid, and all of the professionals who make up our shared services for our students here. So I want to say, after all that, the one thing that keeps coming back to me over and over again, and the one undeniable truth, is that this medical school actually belongs to Dr. Hoyt. It was her vision on how a medical school could improve access to care in Eastern Texas that started it all. And it'll be our mission to honor that vision in the future. So for myself, the Dean's Office, our department chairs, our faculty, and all of our staff, Dr. Hoyt, you have our gratitude and wishes for a great retirement. And at last, and definitely not the least, I want to thank our deans, our faculty, and staff of the College of Osteopathic Medicine, who we work with every day. They are some of the most remarkable people that you'll ever meet. Their energy and work ethic have been amazing, and they are the ones who will carry this college into its future. So again, welcome to our grand opening of this beautiful new building, and thank you all for your support.
So I am going to mention one thing that he did, and he talked about those 75 students that are our first entering class. And we hope the vision in this would be that we would get students from East Texas, because that's where they're most likely to go back and practice medicine. 49% of that first entering class is from our target region. And so that means that when they finish their medical school education, it's very probable they'll go back to those areas to practice. So we thank you to Dr. Henley and all of his staff, because we over-realized what we thought originally we would do with that part of the process. So now it's my honor to introduce Congressman Brady and let him provide some remarks as well.
Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for allowing me to join you for a very important day, both for our county, our state, and for Sam Houston. I don't know about you, but as you were driving off the frontage road and here to this college, it was hard not to be so impressed by what this building means for our region and for our state. And with my wife being a Bearkat, I couldn't help but think as I drove in, I'd love that orange Bearkat claw scratch right on the front of the building to mark the only medical school between Houston and Dallas, and the first one in the history of Montgomery County. That is a lot to be excited about today. You know, this is beyond this exciting day. It's an important day as well. It is a milestone for Sam Houston. It is a milestone for Montgomery County. Creates opportunities for young people, our business, our healthcare, our academic community, and for the growth of our area. But it is the result, as President Hoyt and Chancellor McCall said, it is the result of years of planning, of vision, of incredibly hard work, of bringing people together. As we know, nothing of importance is ever easy. If you believe in something, you have to fight for it, and you fought for it all the way. And as a result, our future is so much brighter because you never gave up. To President Hoyt, to Dean Henley, to our state representatives and Senator, thank you for all your leadership all year round in Austin. To Chairman Scott, to my old friend David, Super Regent Charlie, to each of the regents as well, Chancellor McCall, who I had the privilege of serving with and have been a friend for so many years. You ought to be very proud of this day. It's hard to believe. It was a year ago that we did the groundbreaking. It was a very different time a year ago. But what hasn't changed throughout that is the absolute determination by President Dana Hoyt that we would see this day. The truth of the matter is her leadership has been just remarkable for Sam Houston. Her savvy, her vision, her energy, ability to bring people together. Dana, you have a remarkable legacy at Sam Houston State University, but nothing bigger than this today. So congratulations for all that you have done for this university and our community. I too, look, I know how this works. Brian, you and the Board of Regents have done you do an amazing job for this system, and I've been privileged to be able to represent more than one of the universities and colleges here. It's just remarkable what you've brought to our state and to this system. You're blessed with a remarkable Board of Regents who works tirelessly, a professional staff that is second to none. And as a result, not only has our state benefited, but Sam Houston is just a remarkable university. It is, you can't help but be proud of not just the growth of the students, but the growth of state-of-the-art academics and colleges in an ever-changing economy. You're just at the front end of all of that, and again, would not happen but for your leadership in that of the Regents, backed by an amazing legislative delegation as well. So look, I'll finish with this. Our state is growing. We need more physicians. We need more family doctors to take care of our booming population, especially in the rural communities that I represent. With this new school comes new opportunities for our young people. It creates life for rural communities and a future for rural communities at a time when they need it, and it will create a new generation of medical professionals. Brian and I were talking, especially in times like this, we've learned a lot of lessons from COVID-19, and among those is how crucial it is to have a real dynamic healthcare infrastructure in our rural communities. It is absolutely crucial, and this College of Medicine is going to play a key role in our region, in our state, in making sure that we have the hospitals, we have the clinics, we have the physicians, we have that care where people need it most. And again, this is an amazing day. So on behalf of the United States House of Representatives, more importantly, just as a friend of Sam Houston and a big fan, congratulations on a historic achievement on a really important day for our state. Thank you.
Now I'd like to ask Senator Creighton to come up and speak for a few moments.
How's everybody? It's a great day to be here, right? You know, it's a privilege. I know that Representative Metcalf will definitely say the same. It's a privilege to just have been a part of this team. Working in the legislature over the past 14 years, there are, different points in time where you're able to work on, certainly untouched many different pieces of legislation that are filled with purpose. But I can't think of a greater example of being able to work with such a incredible group of people to achieve the purpose that we all stand here today to recognize together. Representative Metcalf won't say it himself, so I'll just say it for him, that he did an outstanding job in the House of Representatives in a very tough session and I see the faces in the room here. You all know that the legislative sessions are so often defined by a huge, sort of cornerstone piece of legislation that will define the session. And last session, as you all remember, it wasn't just property tax reform, but it was also a 28-year change in the way that we fund our public schools. And on top of that, recovery from the largest storm in American history that hit our part of Texas, southeast Texas, as the dirtiest side of the storm. So all of those things considered, Will launched the effort, and I was privileged to be able to be the sponsor in the Senate and author in that chamber of the same, to carry out your vision together in a legislative session where even if the dollars are explained and the funding mechanisms make sense, there is always a difficult path, the competition among higher education entities. Can I say that? Does that actually happen, right? And we've seen in my tenure alone over 14 years, I've seen medical schools proposed, law schools proposed, those concepts not advance year after year. So much promise, so much potential, so much validity behind those same efforts, but the process is difficult. And sometimes, as I was told when I first ran for office, you have a lot of promise, but you're a little early. And I think that was a nice way to sort of pat me on the back and let me know that maybe others that were in the race had paid their dues, or that were up next, and those individuals, might advance before me, and I need to wait my time. That happens in the legislature as well, with ideas and proposals and new ventures in higher education and on. And you just, as Chancellor McCall mentioned, or alluded to, sometimes you take those no's with great respect and you move on, and then sometimes you just thank those for the no's until you get to your yeses. And anyone that's trained in sales knows what I'm talking about. You have to count your no's to get to your yeses, and you move on with dangerous optimism and a lot of motivation and a never quit attitude. But that's who we are as Texans. Chancellor McCall, it's wonderful to continue to work with you in different capacities. I served a couple of sessions with you after I came in 2007, and how you handled yourself in difficult situations with civility and persuasion was a Jedi Knight experience usually, and I took notes. I can't say that I've emulated that to the level that you have, but it's always just wonderful to work with you. Your regents, for those of you that aren't in the Capitol as much, the Board of Regents that have been assembled on behalf of Sam Houston State, Bill, David, Charlie, all of you, all of the regents together are just an incredible group of people that can get it done. And it's a privilege to follow your lead and to work with you and to just be a part of it alongside of you in what we all stand here today and recognize as the first days of a legacy that's going to be incredible for the state of Texas and for medicine and for healthcare and for all those served. And coming into last session, we couldn't have imagined that we would be in a pandemic, right? I mean, we see the movies, we've read the books, we've talked about scenarios countless times. But if we would have worked on last session, all things considered, what it would take to get through and manage ourselves in a pandemic, 90% of the public would have said, "What in the world are y'all spending your time on that for?" Get to the priorities, right? So you always have to navigate the session and try to figure out what do we want to lay out as our goal as we chart it forward in a very limited amount of time. So here's where I would like to ask everyone, as we've already done it today, to give Dr. Dana Hoyt a round of applause. And just to say thank you, Dr. Hoyt, for the privilege of working with you, but your tenure, I would say, what a wonderful legacy for your time as president. But there were so many other things that you accomplished and have accomplished as president of the university, and I'm just privileged to have been able to work with you leading into my first session, last session, as chairman of the Higher Education Committee in the Senate. And I'm just, again, I know you are modest and you don't want every single speaker to bring you up as part of sort of the cornerstone of the effort, but all things considered, we're talking about a team effort, and we're talking about just an incredible group of people through God's plan that have been assembled to do amazing things outside of what we're standing here today to recognize. But along with it, I'm just very proud of that fact. And Congressman Brady, Chairman Brady, your efforts at the federal level, obviously, as has been mentioned several times today, was paramount and key. And you just seem to get it done in a very tough environment where many look at that environment as it's impossible to get things done there. And you seem to continue to deliver. And it's amazing that we have you representing this district to be able to just share that with you as an experience, because it is uplifting to so many people to be able to recognize that it is still possible. And through your efforts and your help, the way you carry yourself, I'm so appreciative of that and to know you. So with that, it's a privilege to be here today to just share this experience with you, to have been a part of it. Congratulations, and thank you so much again for collectively all your hard work on a job well done. Thank you.
So now it's my honor to introduce Representative Will Metcalf as well for some comments. Thank you.
So I have a choice: either take this mask off or take my glasses off, because they'll fog up if I keep the mask on. So I'll take the mask off. But it's an honor to be here today, and I'm a proud graduate of Sam Houston State University. And yes, thank you. And I was super proud to carry this bill in the House, and Senator Creighton picked it up and ran with that ball after we passed it in the House, and he got it across the finish line in the Senate. But it was a great day for Sam Houston State, and also just the system in general, and also the whole state of Texas. So congratulations to each and every one of you. I remember whenever President Hoyt mentioned that she wanted to pursue this college, I said, sign me up, whatever I need to do, count me in. Put me in, Coach. And so that's what we did, and we go into the Higher Education Coordinating Board. I wasn't going to mention this, but the Chancellor kind of touched on it. I'd like to touch on it a little bit, too. So Sarah and I are in the district office, and we're watching the program go on with the coordinating board, and I'm thinking this is a slam dunk. No additional state formula funding from the state of Texas. Going to have to go to fund this operation. We need one in the state of Texas. It was just a no-brainer in my view, not because I'm a Bearkat, but it just made perfect sense. Well, then it just went south from there, and they probably talked for an hour and a half on Robert's Rules of Order. And after that, I'm shaking my head. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be an uphill battle, but we're going to get through this. I called the Chancellor up, called the President up. I remember I leave my office and I'm heading home and talking to them on a conference call, and, we need to roll up our sleeves. We're going to make sure this happens. So I do want to thank the Higher Education Coordinating Board members for those that voted for it and saw the big picture and realizing this was a no-brainer issue. So thank you very much for being here today as well. But again, it's an honor to serve District 16 in the Texas House. I'm proud to be a Sam Houston alumni, and also really proud that y'all chose Conroe, Texas to be your home for this. Again, congratulations, and President Hoyt, we're going to miss you dearly. You've been phenomenal for this university. Alyssa, we look forward to working with you in the future. Congratulations, Sam Houston.
All right, so now at the conclusion of this event, I'll officially begin life's next chapter, retirement. Over the last decade, I've truly enjoyed serving this great institution, the students, the faculty, the staff, and the alumni. It's not often in one's career that you get to introduce your successor. But today I have the distinct honor of welcoming and introducing Dr. Elisa White to her first official engagement as the 14th president of Sam Houston State. So Elisa, please come up and close us out.
I wouldn't have missed this for the world. So thank you, President Hoyt. Thanks to all of you for making this day happen. I've been in higher ed more than 30 years, and I feel so blessed, so fortunate, because every day we make a difference in the lives of students. We get to do work in which families are truly transformed. We change the economy. We change the trajectory of hope, and we work with families to realize the vision that they have for their children. I've got 3 children here in Texas, one in Austin, one in the Metroplex, and one in Paris. They have very unequal access to health care. There are a lot of options in Austin that are not necessarily available in Northeast Texas. And our jobs and what you saw as our responsibility and opportunity is to make sure that we have wonderful health care opportunities for every Texan, regardless of zip code. And I could not be more proud to join this system and to be here today. I'll say I was here on campus, I was in Huntsville on campus a little more than a year ago on an accreditation visit, and I was supposed to meet with President Hoyt. I was a site reviewer, and they said, oh no, she's in Austin. She's talking to the legislature, trying to get a medical school. And I'm thinking, oh, good luck, because I thought boy, what a heavy lift. And I'm not a Presbyterian, but I do believe in miracles. And here we are today after a miraculous, wonderful win, not just for Sam Houston State University, not just for Texas State University system, but for Texas. And I love that. And so it's my honor today to be part of your team. President Hoyt, thank you for this amazing legacy that will be here long after I'm gone, for every person who is trained here and is educated here. Thank you, senators, congressmen, representative, and Mayor Pro Tem, regents, and Chancellor, Jedi. You're going to wish I hadn't heard that, but that is so cool. Thank you so much for your vision today. Thank you, regents, for your support. Thank you, guests and friends. Please take a tour. We have a virtual tour online that you can take, but we have people in the building ready to show you around. And this is an amazing facility, so please see it. And if you take a look at that virtual tour, post it, send it out, let people know we're here, because every time you mention us, you're giving one other opportunity for students to apply to Sam Houston State University. Thank you very much.